Broadcasting Network. Ethan Berch with you here on this beautiful night in Alumni Field. And we have a special guest, the commissioner of the NECBL, Sean McGrath. Sean, a pleasure to have you aboard, not only here in Keene, but also on the broadcast. Thank you for spending this half inning with us.
Happy to be here. It's always great to show up to Alumni Field, especially on a beautiful night. And in typical fashion, the SwampBat fans have filled the place up and made for a great atmosphere. And it's one of the reasons why they're one of the best organizations in all of summer collegiate baseball throughout the country.
Almost 2,000 fans here at Alumni Field, obviously the last week of the season, and things haven't necessarily gone as well as Keene has wanted, but overall it's been, at least in my perspective, an unbelievable experience here in the NECBL, coming off what I assumed was a very successful all-star break. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I just want to announce the pitcher coming in. It's Jack Schwarbrick, making, yet again, the fourth Upper Valley debut of the game. So 4 fresh pitchers just recently joined the team. He's in for Emory and Henry College, 6'3", 190, a junior, and he's got TJ McKenzie leading it off. It's McKenzie, Brandon Anderson, and Matt Almonte for the SwampBats. But, Sean, just from your perspective, how this season has gone here in the NECBL. Obviously, I know there was a lot of weather problems last year, but this year it seems like everything has gone at least smoothly as McKenzie's drilled with the first pitch.
Yes, we have to knock on wood. Nature's cooperated quite a bit for us this year, which really has allowed our teams and our players to play a schedule that we scheduled at the beginning of the season. Days off they're playing 6 days a week, so to lose a day off because of Mother Nature, starts to make for a long summer. It gets hot, double headers, travel, it does add up. So when Mother Nature cooperates, our players are, quite frankly, they're given the best chance to perform at their maximum level. When we get backed up, it just puts a lot of pressure and stress on the staffs, on the coaches, quite frankly, even the umpires showing up every night and doing double headers in heat.
First pitch to Brandon Anderson, misses upstairs, 1 ball and no strikes. Anderson is 0 for 1 on the day after reaching on an error back in the 6th inning. So let's talk about the All-Star game. Obviously, just happened in Martha's Vineyard, and I'm sure that was a pretty big step for the NECBL as the 1-0 breaking ball is flown to the backstop, and McKenzie will head on over to second, and the count's 2-0 to Anderson. Probably a big thing going to Martha's Vineyard, considering the trip. Keene just had to make the trip back on Friday, and that was my first experience not only going to Martha's Vineyard, but doing it from Keene. So what were some of the things that kind of went into that?
What did you think? How was your experience?
I loved it. I thought it was definitely a fun change, something that you don't do every day.
You don't want to do it 10 times is what you're saying?
Will I do it 10 times? I do it if I have to, but it's a lot. It is. As the 2-0 gets to the backstop again, right through the 5-hole of Go-Rig, on over to third goes McKenzie, and a 3-0 count for Anderson.
And so, number one, the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, they were awarded this All-Star game in 2019 in the winter at the NECBL board meetings. And then we had COVID, and then Newport, who was supposed to have it in 2020, they had theirs in 2021. So they've been waiting for this for 2 years on the island. And logistically, it showed. They planned, they were prepared. It was a great atmosphere. The scouts were thrilled with the experience themselves, great talent. We made it very welcoming. The Sharks were great hosts, took great care of all the players, participants. So anybody who showed up is a great time. Now going back to the island, yes, lots of logistics to get there. Well worth the experience when you get over there. It's unique. It's part of the summer experience. We have kids from around the country. Some of them will never ever be on the island again. Some of them may never travel to the Cape. So for everybody to have that experience is pretty special. And while it's a lot for somebody from the Berkshires and the hills of the Appalachian Mountains like myself, to go down there. When you speak to the Martha's Vineyard Sharks players and coaches, would you do this again? After doing it 22 games out of the year, I haven't had a player tell me, no, I would not do that again. So it's a lot to go over, but you went once. I went once this year. Mm-hmm. Those players are going to do it 22 nights, and they're okay with it. So it's clearly they're doing something right down on the island, and they've been obviously a great addition to the league. Just going back to the championship series between the SwampBats and the Sharks in year 1 in the NECBL. So,
it sure helps that Martha's Vineyard's been as successful as they have. A couple of championship appearances their first season. Obviously a loss to Keene, but still an impressive feature in their first year. And this year as well, looking like one of maybe the top teams in this league as things have shaped out. Obviously not in terms of records, but things change as weeks have gone on, and Martha's Vineyard has been as impressive as it gets.
They're on the heels of Newport right now. The Coastal Division obviously has had the most success, but they are on the heels, and in fact they're playing tonight. And the last I saw, they were up 1-0.
4-2 right now.
4-2. So that's a big game, and for to win the division is very important this year heading into the postseason. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Here's the situation for you. It's an 0-1 count to Matt Almonte, and he takes a breaking ball in, 1-1. Anderson walked. He's at third, so runners on the corners. Here in a 6-2 lead for the SwampBats over Upper Valley. And, I know there was a big change. I obviously wasn't here last year in the NECBL, but the divisions. In your eyes, how do you think things have shaped out? Do you think that was the right decision as Almonte fouls one away, 1 ball and 2 strikes?
No, very happy with it. And last year was a COVID year, and we went to an extreme North Division, South Division in order to make sure that if there was an outbreak in the North, at least the South teams can play, and vice versa. It's not ideal. Everybody knew it wasn't ideal, but it allowed us to give us some more confidence that not the entire league would have a shutdown, quite frankly. So going into this year, now that we have 14 teams, we've talked about 3 division formats for years. Every year we go into our postseason, talk about the schedule, talk about the divisions, alignment, baseball rules, and we've talked about 3 divisions. It doesn't really work out. Number of games you're playing against each other. You don't want to play teams too many times. Nobody wants to see the same team in the ballpark, or 5 times home, 5 times away. Once you got to 14 teams, we were able to really think strategically, and we felt that it made a lot of sense. Essentially, this format here eliminated everybody's longest bus trip from 3 trips to 1 trip. Mm-hmm. So Danbury to Martha's Vineyard, that was an in-division trip. They went 3 times each way. That's down to 1. Sanford to North Adams, that was an in-division trip. That's a 4-hour bus trip, down to 1 from 3. So it did, for the teams that are in the corners of our league, it certainly benefited them and made the travel a little bit more, affordable. And quite frankly, for our players' perspective, it's less time on the bus. So we felt it was a win-win. Obviously, we'll go into the September board meeting and kind of get the feedback from all the teams around the league. I haven't heard a whole lot of complaints, and typically at this point in the year, I would have heard about things not working out or preferences that weren't. That we should look at and discuss, and haven't been hearing a whole lot about that.
This one hit in the air. Tagging is McKenzie. Fielding is Sorrentino. His throw coming in. It's up the line. McKenzie's safe. And that's a sacrifice fly for Matt Almonte. It's 7-2 Keene, and that's the first out here in the top of the 8th inning. Keene adds on some more insurance. They lead Upper Valley here in the top. Sorry. Sean, obviously this feels like maybe the most normal year since 2019, because 2020 was canceled. 2021, you mentioned it was a lot of different protocols for COVID, whether teams only were restricted for in-division. It was a big North and a big South. How do you think, from your perspective, things have changed from your expectations before the season to now?
This is close.
This one's up the middle for a base hit for Broderick. He's on, first and second, 1 out.
Yeah, no, this has been a great season. I've been to everywhere in the league, and it's felt normal in the ballparks. The fans have come out. Our players are playing free. Certainly we're aware of the pandemic is ongoing and not going away, but we certainly, as a society and in the NECBL, learn to live with it. And we've had a few instances of positive cases within the league, and those teams have handled it per the guidelines and to prevent any spread and any shutdowns. So. We're aware of it. We're being responsible, but yeah, in the ballparks, night in, night out, it's been a lot of fun throughout the league. And again, tonight is a phenomenal night in Keene.
Yeah, have you made your way to every single ballpark so far this summer?
There's one ballpark I have not been able to visit yet with family schedule, my full-time work responsibility, and some Mother Nature. Actually, the one time I wanted to get to that ballpark was a less than 50% chance with rain, and I chose not to risk a 3.5-hour drive. So, yeah, certainly whether I'm in a ballpark or not, I'm online following the games, checking out the broadcast, and keeping an eye on what's happening around the league.
Yeah, so I want to ask this question. It's a little bit out of what we were talking about, but when I went through Keene's roster, and when other broadcasters come and they talk about the players and where they're from, how important do you think it is to spread, players out from across the country? Keene has a lot of players, especially from down south, and you see teams with players all the way from out to California. How important in your eyes do you see that being, or less important?
Yeah, well, no, it's a great question, and there's lots of different strategies about how to create a NECBL roster. And you can ask Kevin Warson. He's been doing this for a long time, and he's applied lots of different strategies. When you look around the league, you can probably identify what some of the strategies are, whether it's young players, whether it's regional players, whether it's national big-time schools, powerhouses, Power 5 conferences. I do think you want to be successful in summer, you better have a mix and a balance, whether it's Power 5 schools, draftable players, kids who this may be the highest level of baseball they ever play. But you want to compete in the NECBL, you better recruit, I don't care where they're from,
Yeah.
You better recruit talented ball players who can compete at this level, because the baseball gets better and better every single year. And quite frankly, with the arms I've been seeing around the year, I would struggle in this league mightily myself if I was in the box. And so it's a testament to the general managers who are continuing to find quality players. It's the reason why scouts show up at our games. It's the reason why we have TrackMan and Synergy tracking all of our players' movements and activity.
First pitch of Santa Maria, laces one into deep left field. That's going to be over the head of Myers and over the wall. A home run for Tony Santa Maria. Fourth home run of the summer. Keene blows the doors open in this one. It's 10-2. That one 100 miles an hour off the bat, 345 feet into left. And let me tell you, that ball left in a hurry. It is now 10-2, and Tony Santa Maria, who is on the NECBL Instagram takeover, has a nice present for you, Commissioner Sean McGrath.
It's like we had it planned.
Absolutely awesome.
It's like our interns had it planned. The NECBL, I got to give a shout out to all the NECBL volunteers and interns from our interns this year from the Northeast, who have been doing a great job with our social media channels and trying to bring the life of the NECBL to our fans.
So now I got a fun question. You were just talking about the interns, and for myself, of course, as Cavino's in the box. I'm an intern myself and a broadcaster, and you and the league do something that I don't know if many other leagues do, and it's collaborate all the broadcasters across the entire league. And when I first signed up for this job, I had no idea that was a thing. And at first, I didn't know how I was going to feel about it, but then it turned out to be awesome. You learn from other different broadcasters, and you just get to meet so many more different people, make different connections, and connections, especially in the broadcasting world, can go a really long way. Now, is that a recent thing that the NECBL has done, and what went behind it? Because in my eyes, I love it. Yeah,
so I'd love to take all the credit, but I will not. I will. This goes back to before my days when Mario Tiani was commissioner, Kevin McElvain was commissioner, and really we were at the forefront of kind of broadcasting and live streaming in summer collegiate baseball. Quite frankly, hardly anybody did it back then. Our good friends at the Cape did a lot of audio, but they didn't do a lot of video. We had every single game live stream. Now, maybe they didn't have 3 cameras like tonight and graphics, but you could actually watch, the players on the field with 2 broadcasters. And from those early days, we always had that color play-by-play and color commentator, one from each team. And we've had such great feedback from interns like yourself, and many of them have gone on to their professional SIDs. They're in the minor leagues. They're in continue to be professionals in this industry, who have said exactly what you just said. It's an opportunity to grow, learn. You travel with a team. You learn other aspects of the trade, quite frankly, and it's something that we do value. And so I'm glad to hear about your experience and your journey yourself. But it is something that we've seen a lot of benefits of it, and we're happy to be a part of our players' experiences as well as our interns, social media interns, our graphic interns, our broadcast booth, you name it. It's interesting, the contributions that we make well beyond just the game of baseball in the lives of young adults.
So we talked a lot about the league. Talk about you a little bit. What do you love so much about baseball? I mean, you're a commissioner of one of the biggest collegiate leagues in the entire summer. First of all, it can't just be, an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of dedication. Also takes probably the love of the game. What do you love so much about baseball?
I was born into a baseball family. My father was a high school baseball coach, so I think from I think I was 2 years old. I was on the team bus when they won the state championship in Massachusetts. It's all I've ever known. It's what I grew up in, and obviously you want to play the game for as long as you can, and I tried to do that. Then you want to coach. You want to be in the dugout for as long as you can, coaching, and then I became a general manager, and then never imagined that I would be in this position as commissioner. But it allows me to be around the game, the players, interns, and really, to see what the NECBL does so well.
Sam Slevin ends the inning here, but Sean, it was a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for all you do for the league, and you've done seriously a great job with this. I'm sure there's so many players, interns, broadcasters, everyone that wants to be involved, and thanks to you. So thank you for joining me as well here.
Thank you for your voice, and thanks for bringing the excitement of the NECBL to our fans all summer long, and clearly you're going to be off and running, and we look forward to following your journey as an alum.
Thank you.
NECBL.
Thank you so much, Sean. That's all for the bottom of the 8th on to the 9th. We go. SwampBats looking to close this 10-2 win over Upper Valley. It's all here on Pure Oldies 104.1 FM and the NECBL Broadcast Network.